So
And
Nuremberg.
anyways, we went to Nuremberg, which was the first actual prisoner of war camp that we were in. Although they considered the brewery a Dulag Luft too, or Stalag Luft. And this was our first Stalag Luft. And we were in there, and the Germans, or the English, had to raid the town of Nuremberg at that time, and with their Lancasters, night bombing, and they scared the hell out of us, because the bombs were also hitting some of the camps, and we were glad to get out of there. And what they did when we left there was 3,000 of us, and they broke us down to 100-person compartments, or squads, if you want to call them that. And then they just broke us down because we had all the enlisted troops and officers mixed up. So they took the officers and made an officer at the front and end of each squadron or company. And I was probably lucky. I was towards the end of the total 3,000, and because most of the officers were put in the front, and except those that were assigned to the different. Anyways, we started. We left Nuremberg in this way, and started our march. All 3,000 of us, and the first day, never luck. Terrible luck, because first day out, we were hit by our own P-47s, and they saw us, and they couldn't tell, of course, whether we were actually military troops or what we were. All they knew that it was there, and they came down and they bombed and strafed us, and there was no place for us to hide. We had actually no places to hide. It was pathetic, and some of their bombs had hit ahead of us, but automatically when we saw that they were coming down to bomb and strafe us, we just broke ranks. Nobody gave a damn whether the dogs would get you or whether what would happen. Finally, we endured this for 16 days of walking and marching. We stopped off at farmers' places and barns and wherever we could sleep. And finally, we made it to Moosburg after 16 days of marching. And Moosburg is outside of Munich. And that was our final destination, was Camp Moosburg Camp, Stalag 7B. And then the war ended on the 9th of May, or 8th of May. And from then on, I was no longer a prisoner of war. Then what happened was that they filtered us out to cigarette camps, they called it, because it was Lucky Strike, Camels, Chesterfields, and so on. And this is where the they called us prisoners of war. Of course we were, but Allied prisoners of war, and we were to be processed through these camps, given clothing and debugging and all of this stuff. So then, actually, that was it. We went through our processing. From there, we were after we spent a week of this here processing. We were all put on a ship and came back to the U.S. and came into Norfolk instead of going through the New York, where we all expected to see the Statue of Liberty. And we were disappointed we didn't get to see the Statue of Liberty. But then they processed back and brought us back to whatever we were, our rank and so on. And one last factor is that we lost all of everything, our IDs, and they made new ID cards for us. They call them AGO cards. For enlisted and officers had these cards. And when they made mine, they were called ID cards because they were identification cards. And mine ended up being printed all right and routine, along with thousands of them. Indentification. They misspelled it. They put I-N instead of ID. And I don't know if anybody else ever got them, but I have mine in that pile of stuff over there. That's some kind of a souvenir, really. Probably valuable. But it's an identification card instead of identification card. And from there, we just went on and were processed back as prisoners, given all the kinds of leave we wanted. And at that time, I went back to my soon-to-be wife, and we got married. Luckily, on the 1st of August, I was given plenty of leave. So what we did, I had orders to go to be processed as a prisoner of war and put out of the service if that's what you wanted. Or anyways, I was sent to Miami, Florida, where the Air Force or Air Corps at that time had taken over all the hotels down there to process the prisoners of war.